Hey everyone, welcome to day 93 of building the flight booking engine. I'm thinking of now focusing on DevOps stuff. So I hope that will be a better way to wrap this up. So this will be a short one. I want to prepare and set the stage to deploy or to show you how to deploy this application. Or orchestrate it using Kubernetes. I think it will be a good thing to show you. So let me walk through the files. I did some changes, but I need to undo them so that I can explain to you what changed. And I think that way is a better approach. So maybe I'll start with the Dockerfile. I'll copy all this, okay, just to preserve it. Then I'll go to my terminal and I say git, let me see, git status is the command I'm looking for. I say git restore Dockerfile. Okay, yeah. So this is the original state before the changes are applied. So when you look at this Dockerfile, we see that every container has to start through Doppler. How do you know that? Let me expand this. You know that via line 30. Look at line 30. You say Doppler run minus minus. Then we get the path to FastAPI binary in the virtual environment. Then we run the main.py. Okay, that's what happens. But Kubernetes should not know about Doppler. You should not know that our team or I uses Doppler or your team uses Doppler. K8 or Kubernetes should be able to provide the environment variables via something called secrets and ConfigMaps. And then the application can be started. I'll show you later about secrets and ConfigMaps concerning Kubernetes. And these Kubernetes secrets and ConfigMaps will help us avoid this. So I want the image to be portable enough to run like on a Docker platform, on Kubernetes, any CI platform, or any other container platform without having to rely on Doppler. Okay, so I will select all this again, remove and paste the changes. So if you look at line, the CMD command this time, you see instead of saying Doppler run, it's now showing FastAPI run. You get, that is the fast change. Then if you look at line 27 and 28, I just did a few modifications to ensure that this image is, the images are fully portable. Of course, the first one ensures that we avoid surprises when we are trying to do importations within the container. This will make sure that the backend directory is importable as a package. What backend directory am I referring to? Is actually this one, okay, that you see my cursor highlighting. So it will help us avoid any kind of surprises. We shall actually have the backend folder being identified as a package inside the container. That's the reason of for the Python path environment variable. Then after that, there is another environment variable called path. And this environment variable is simply to help us run FastAPI easily by saying FastAPI run main.py. Otherwise, then we shall have to specify this entire path. Okay, maybe let me show you what that looks like in the previous changes. So I will restore. If you look at line, let me do this. expand it. If you look at line 30, you see we have to say first Doppler run minus minus, say app backend dot venv bin FastAPI run. Why? This is because we need to locate the FastAPI installation within the container. But when we set and add the virtual environment to the path, then we don't need to do that. And how do you add the virtual environment to the path? It is done by this line 28. So the virtual environment is located in the app/backend directory, and its binaries are located in the bin directory. So we're adding it to the path, as simple as that. And it will enable us to say FastAPI run main.py. I think that makes it good. And this is the first step to make sure that we prepare our backend for Kubernetes. But there's something, of course, you can see up here that I've not removed this line of code concerning installing Doppler. Why? Because I'm just keeping it right now for the local dev workflow, but as we go step by step, I am going to ensure that I remove everything. Okay. If you go to compose.yaml, I actually did what I can call a small wrapper. Okay. Yeah. I start the backend through Doppler. Okay. So it is simply for local development. Okay. To keep it working the old way, but the image itself no longer requires that hard coded Doppler. Yeah. So of course this is going to change, but I wanted to show you an easy way or to ease you into the first step they want to do in regards to preparing this project to be run on Kubernetes. So I will come here and maybe do a few verifications. I think it should be fast because I have already done this, but it won't hurt to show you. So I can say docker build. So build is a command in Docker used to build an image. Then I'll say -t. -t is used to put a tag. I can say arrow backend, arrow dash backend. Okay, that's the image name. Then full colon to put the tag. The tag will be local. As simple as that. Then space, I say period. Okay, I mean that the current context or the current directory is the one which has the Dockerfile. And if you go up here, okay, you see it finished, okay, very fast in 0.1 seconds or milliseconds. And that is because I had already run it earlier, okay? Yeah, so you can see it had cached a number of things. Okay, I'll show you the command again. It is docker. Okay, so ensure that you have Docker installed. If you don't have Docker installed, then you have to install it. Then after that, it says build. Let me expand so you can see better. So Docker, okay, build. The command used to build an image. -t, this is for giving it a name. Arrow backend is the name of the image. Then the full colon separates the image name from the tag. Then the period means that find the Docker file in the current working directory. For example, if I was working in another directory or it's in a particular directory, I would say probably find it in maybe the front end directory like that. Okay, but it's not in the front end. It's in the current working directory. That's why I use a period. All right. We can expand this and then show you another way to verify. Of course, these are commands I assume you know, but there could be one or two people who don't know, and it's okay to illustrate. Then I can say docker to confirm that what we set up over here, okay, in the Docker file works. Okay, that we can verify that we have our Python path set up properly, and also that we can identify that FastAPI is set up as we want. We can do the same and verify using Docker. So how to do that? I can simply say docker run Okay, so we want to run a command inside the container. So docker run minus rm. So this will delete the image or remove the image or erase the image after it has executed. Docker run. So we need to run the name of the image. The image is called arrow backend. Okay, that's the name of the image. Full colon. We specify the name of the tag, which is local. Okay, of course later we shall tag things like for production and stuff like that. Someone sends a comment. Emmanuel says, did you address the issue of Amadeus API? It's not giving a change to login. Yes, I did address the Amadeus issue, and I said in the previous live stream and many other live streams, okay, that Amadeus ended their self-service APIs, okay, and they stopped registration, I think, in around April, and they're going to close access to the self-service APIs on July 17th, maybe 2 days from now, okay? They announced that. So I gave two alternatives. Remember, the goal is simply to have access to flight data. So the first option I did, the first solution to that is using another provider, okay? It can be a GDS or any other, okay? But I chose Duffel, okay? And I have a video on how you can integrate Duffel if it is available in your country. Or you can integrate any other provider, okay? The concepts remain the same. You'll simply change the API endpoints and change the response styles. Personally, I'm working on doing that for this project. I have not found something workable yet, but I'm working on it. Secondly, the other way is to use them a mock, okay? In the playlist, you'll see there's also a video where I created a mock. I think I'll maybe change its thumbnail, okay, saying mock API so that you can actually identify it. So I create a mock, okay. That mock returns exact responses of Amadeus self-service, okay. You can study it and see how it works. How to use this mock requires you to use environment variables. You'll change only one environment variable like this, okay? And you'll switch from a real API to the mock API. And the other thing which I'm actually trying to push for is to get Amadeus Enterprise, okay? Amadeus Enterprise requires you to pay money. But that is something I'm going to do privately in the real world. Okay, I hope that answers your question, Marvelous. If it's not clear, you can ask a follow-up question. I will clarify. So, just run the image arrow backend and the tag local. And of course, like I've said, the full colon separates the image from the tag. Then after that, I can use a command. Say in the container, I want to execute a command called Python minus version. Okay, and hit enter. Okay, so it says unknown shorthand flag. Okay, so I will do this. I'll clear and add another dash. Okay, after here I missed out in dash. It's supposed to be 2. Okay, minus rm. Again, like I've told you, minus rm deletes the container after execution. So we're simply executing the Python minus version in this image. As simple as that. To prove that the changes we made to our Docker file are actually okay. Then we can do the same and say Docker run. So this is now to verify that FastAPI is in our container. Minus rm arrow dash backend full colon, okay, local. Again, arrow backend is the name of the image and local is the tag. Then we check fast API minus version. Okay, so the concept is create an image with the tag, be able to verify or run commands inside that image. Okay, actually, the best term is to say create a container, okay? Because when we run an image, the result is a container, okay? So we use the image called error backend with the tag local to run a container, and this container we try to test and see if what we have inside it is okay and exists. For example, we check that Python can be found, okay, by checking for the Python version. Now I want to check that FastAPI can be found by checking for the version. Okay. All right, and there we are. We have the version of FastAPI. So it works perfectly. So this a way. Now don't cram. The whole idea is to create a simple way of showing you that the goal of this is to show you that an image, okay, or a Docker image is supposed to be portable. Okay, it should have a state whereby, or not a state, but a blueprint and a structure whereby we can easily run it maybe on a Docker runtime or on Kubernetes or on a continuous integration platform or any other container platform, okay, without having it tight coupled to particular things. And the goal of this was to show you that it should be as independent as possible. And one of the ways I did in this live stream is to remove Doppler, okay, to ensure that the backend can be run without Doppler. Why? Kubernetes has a feature or tools called secrets and ConfigMaps, which will help us to install the what is it called? The secrets or environment variables. So thank you for joining today's live stream. And I think, Marvelous, I'm going to change the thumbnail of that video so that it's easily accessible and that people can find it and learn how to create that mock API. All right, so yeah, this is going to be short, and I'll see you in the next video or live stream. Nowadays, I find it difficult to create live streams because of the kind of responsibilities I have. But when I can, I will. If it's not possible, then I'll just record a video and then upload it. So bye for now. Thank you, Marvelous, for joining the live stream, and let's learn every day and get better at the art of software engineering.